So I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order with a reminder to silence your electronics devices. This meeting is being both audio and video recorded on the school board's website. Ms. Williams, may I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Chairman Alexander. Paul Alexander.
Here.
Dr. Shantae Jones.
Here.
Miss Ellen Slobodnik.
Here.
Mr. Michael Cummings.
Here. All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Slobodnik, would you mind leading us in a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. Please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No, Chairman.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion and second for approval of the agenda, please?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda, assuming everyone has had a chance to review, may I get a motion and a second for approval of consent?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to school board member committee reports. Ms. Slobodnik.
For the Finance Committee, we did not meet this week because we had a work session with the board the last time we met, and we will be seeing the capital improvement plan presentation later tonight. So no updates because we'll see it very soon.
All right, thank you, ma'am. So moving on to superintendent spotlights and announcements.
There are no spotlights or announcements this evening, Chairman.
Okay. Moving right along, public comments. Ms. Williams, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
Yes, we do, Chairman Alexander.
All right, thank you, ma'am. So, for public comments, individuals who wish to address the school board should sign in at the list maintained by the desk and the clerk prior to the start of the regular meeting. When called to the podium, please provide your name and Manassas Park city address. For staff, include job title or work location. Each person is allotted 3 times minutes to make comments. Ms. Williams will let you know when you've reached that 3 minutes. The board will not give feedback to your comments or questions during public comment time. Should your comments warrant a response, Dr. Saunders will work with staff to... Okay. We good? Wasn't sure if my mic... to make sure staff addresses concerns that are raised, and we'll do so in a timely manner. Mr. Carrera, thank you for joining us this evening.
How's everyone doing? I'm Michael Carrera. Address is 9354 Southwood Drive, right here in beautiful Manassas Park. I'm a council member here in the governing body. I'm here to speak in favor of your stipend. I know that came about at our council meeting. As you may know, I raised the city council and ran that through last year after over 25 years of not raising council salaries. We were underpaid, and it seems to me from what you're making your stipend, you're underpaid. And I would encourage you to increase it probably threefold, to at least go into probably 10,000 for the members and maybe 11 or 12,000 for the chair. You have to have fairness in pay for even our board, specifically our school board. Our schools mean the most here, and this is why we're a city. If we're not going to fund the leadership or the members that support the leadership, then there's no point of being a city. So I strongly encourage you to increase your stipends 300%. I will support you on city council, and that's what I like to see. So thank you so much. You enjoy your evening.
Thank you, sir. All right. Moving on to new business, finance, proposed capital improvement plan, fiscal year 26 through 30.
Mr. Lyon is going to come forward and present that.
Okay, let's do it this way. Good evening, Chair Alexander, members of the board. This evening I'm here to present our proposed fiscal year 26 through fiscal year 30 capital improvement plan. The first slide here gives you a high-level glance at the projects over the next 5 years, and I'll be going into each of these projects in detail in upcoming slides. I have another attachment that shows you the spreadsheet and the carryover from one year to the next. You may reference at your leisure. One of the constant items on our 5-year plan is our school bus replacement. We have a refreshment cycle, and our goal is to purchase 2 new buses every year while we rotate out the buses that have outlived their life cycle. That is about a $1.4 million cost over the 5 years. Another item we have on our CIP is replacing the middle school outdoor air units. There are 7 of them, and that project will be split over 2 fiscal years, FY26 and FY27. We look to replace those starting toward mid to late June next year, and then that'll bleed over, I'm sure, into July, given the supply chain is adequate. And that costs about $1.8 million. At the middle school and high school, we will be working on replacing some worn-out equipment that gets used quite a bit between the athletic teams and the physical education classes, looking at about $60,000 expenditure there. We're also looking at replacing our HVAC units that are considered work on the gas R22, which has been discontinued over the years. So each year we buy several units. And in 2 of our schools, Cougar Elementary and in the high school, each classroom has their own unit. So we have to work on removing the old unit and installing a new one. So we do that with our internal team. Another project over FY26 and FY27 is upgrading the secondary campus lighting to LED lights to save on utility costs and have a brighter campus over the next 2 years. It will be $500,000 over FY26 and FY27. All of our buses have safety video cameras on them, and they're coming to the end of their life cycle, and we need to replace those next year in FY26 at an estimated cost of $125,000. These are not the cameras on the side. These are not stop arm cameras. These are the internal monitoring cameras. A consistent item that we have in our CIP is the annual technology infrastructure upgrades. We're looking at about $200,000. $50,000 each year over FY26 through FY30. I do take a break in that plan between FY26 and FY28 due to some other projects during FY27. I needed to balance that budget that year, so that is 1 year I did not include that item. One thing we realized this year are the generators at our schools. They are original equipment, so they're about 25 years old. We had our high school generator go down, and we were not able to find replacement parts, and we have to have the failed part actually rebuilt. We're looking at replacing those generators over the next 3 years, FY27 through FY28, to make sure they are operational and maintainable.
That's 150,000, right? Not 15.
Oh, 150,000, yes.
Okay.
I missed a zero there. Secondary campus renovation, architectural engineering. We had this item on there last year, just looking down the road to add that CTE wing to the high school to increase our offerings. This is the architectural design phase of that, about $400,000 in FY29. The secondary campus renovation, again, this is a projected amount, $35 million, to build that addition onto the high school in FY30. The original plan, we had it in FY29, but as time has gone by, we're moving that down the road 1 more year. This is a project we started this year and we'll continue on for the next couple of years, replacing student and staff desks, tables, and chairs. As we know, most of that is original equipment, also not built from when they open the doors. This project we started this year in FY25. We'll carry it on to FY26. We're working on replacing again, original equipment, carpet that has been in the building since the doors opened. And FY26 and FY28, we're looking at refreshing the playgrounds at Cougar Elementary and Manassas Park Elementary for $80,000 each year. Working on reconfiguring the front office at the high school so they have a better viewpoint of the entry, the front door entry for security reasons, for $30,000. Then we're looking at expanding a portion of the parking lot behind the maintenance shop so we can increase parking for our staff for a $30,000 cost. At Cougar Elementary, we're looking at replacing our fire protection devices and panels as again, they are original equipment and they are due to be refreshed. Again, with our intruder alarm systems at the high school and Cougar Elementary, these are original equipment and we need to update them and have a monitoring service with those devices. Another item that was original in our buildings, we have 4 receptacles, but over the years and decades, these receptacles have become obsolete, broken, and not functional. We need to work on removing them because they're becoming safety hazards in the floor. Then FY30, we need to plan on replacing the outdoor air units at Manassas Park Elementary School. As again, they are original equipment. We'll look at replacing those. And that will be the last school. After that point, we'll have replaced all the air units on all the buildings. And that concludes the proposed CIP.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lyon. Any questions from any board members?
I just have a comment. I have 2 comments. I just appreciate the staff's attention and looking to update to increase the safety and security for our staff and students. So thank you for that. As well as I'm glad that we're looking into the future for secondary campus renovations for CTE electives, because I think it's really important that we're investing in that for our student body. So thank you.
Yeah. The only other, I had one question, and it was just more beyond fiscal year 30. Do we know how far out the R22 replacement is going to carry, or do we expect it to kind of be done at 30?
I believe it'll probably take us through the end of this 5 years, then we should be finished with that.
Okay.
And we try to do about 25 a year. I believe.
Right. That's fine. I just was curious if it was going to.
And then at that point, the gas will be expired and we'll have to do it again.
Right.
But I hope not.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Lyon.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to student services, the proposed 2025 and 2026 calendar updates and the 2026-2025, 26 to 27 academic school calendar.
Chairman, we'll have Dr. Grosser present the calendar revisions for 25-26 and the calendar draft for 26-27.
Good evening, Chair Alexander, members of the board. I'm here tonight to present some proposed changes to the 2025-2026 school calendar and present you with a first draft of the 26-27 school calendar. There we go. All right, so I just want to point out some of the proposed changes. We have an approved 2025-2026 calendar for next school year, but we are proposing the following changes. We'd like to move the Parent-Teacher Conference Day from October 30th to November 3rd, and you do have larger copies of this calendar in PDF. So what you can see by making that move is that we move to one 4-day weekend instead of students coming, having a day off, coming back, having another day off, and things are really choppy over that couple of weeks. So we propose moving the Parent-Teacher Conference that day. We're proposing adding April 6th as a teacher workday. And if you'll notice on the calendar, that is the day after spring break. We have in some years had that day off for students and a teacher workday there. We didn't originally have it on the calendar, but we've added it back as a teacher workday. And what that did to the end of the year is it does bump our end of the year 1 day so that we make sure we get 180 days in. But you'll see that has us end then on an early release day on Thursday the 11th, teacher workday on Friday the 12th, and that would be the end of the school year. The final proposed change we have for this calendar is to add 4 early release days. So you'll see the dates on there for the 4 early release days. That works out to being 1 early release day per quarter. And you'll remember last year we came and proposed some calendar changes for this year to accommodate all the increased professional learning requirements on our teachers around the VLA and some of the other changes with curriculum. So instead of moving some days like we did this year, like January 2nd and 3rd, we had full days and we moved those to full days of professional learning days. We're proposing taking 4 early release days. So students would still come in, it still is a school day for students, they would leave early and our teachers would do their professional learning at that time. And then in moving to the 26-27 draft calendar, this will be the first look at this calendar. I just pulled out a few highlights of things that we've gotten questions on in the past for how does that wash out in 26-27. So you'll see that we could stick with a full 2-week winter break. That's one of the highlights. We still start around the same day and end around the same day. You'll see the start is Monday, August 17th, and our end is Wednesday, June 9th, with the workday on Thursday, June 10th. We were able to get the 2-week winter break and the day after spring break on this calendar because some of the holidays that we added in do fall on the weekends. So you'll see that we may get questions around, well, I don't see Diwali on this calendar, I don't see Rosh Hashanah on this calendar. They are observed on weekends in the 26-27 school year. And that's why they're not included as division closed days off for us. And then we would also propose doing the 4 early release days again, the 1 per quarter, and your dates are on there as well. And that concludes the presentation of our proposed changes.
Any board questions? I have one. How many school days or snow days are we currently factoring into kind of our calendar to meet the requirements and stuff? I just, in the event, with the recent weather, I was just kind of was wondering when we factor in how long we're going into the calendar year.
So we don't really factor them in necessarily. It's not like
Okay.
there's this number, there's a magical number, and if we hit that number and we go over that, then we're now into making up days. So when we go to the calendar, what we look at are 2 things. It's our seat hours, and then it's our number of days. So this calendar is based on 180 days.
Okay.
And then when we start to look at that time, we go back to, okay, how many hours is that, and what are our seat hours? And you can look at kind of length of days and things like that. So it takes a good number of days. I'm going to knock on wood, we're not going to get
Right.
those days. I'm not a snow fan.
I know it's a lot. I just was curious. Okay. All right.
Chairman, we do have to meet the 990-hour clock hours currently. There's some legislation that potentially might change that or put some waivers in place, but we do have to meet the 990 hours. So in this case, right now, we're still on track to meet our 990 hours and then a little bit of extra, even though we have had some snow days this year.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Grosser. All right. Action agenda, we have nothing. So moving on to upcoming meetings. We have a regular school board meeting and superintendent's fiscal year 26 proposed budget presentation and public hearing on the CIP Monday, the 10th at 6:59 in board chambers. And then we have a regular school board meeting in public hearing for the fiscal year 26 proposed budget and 26 capital improvement plan on consent on Monday, the 24th. At 6:59, City Hall Board Chambers. We have no students here, so I will skip student representative report and move on to board member comments. Does anyone have any comments? Okay, seeing no board member comments, can I get a motion and a second for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion is, thank you. Said it too soon. Second. All right, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
You did great. I know, right? You did great here.